Facebook executive Sheryl Sandberg took to the platform on Tuesday afternoon, issuing a lengthy statement. In this statement, saying that they were making changes not for financial reasons or advertiser pressure, but because it's the right thing to do. This comes after weeks of advertisers dropping out of the platform as part of the hashtag Stop Hate for Profit campaign. This campaign, launched by civil rights groups, is calling on Facebook to do more to tackle hate speech and misinformation on the platform. Now, we know that CEOs of numerous civil rights groups met with CEO Mark Zuckerberg on Tuesday evening, and they released statements that were not happy with that particular meeting. Just taking one example here, this is the group Free Press, the CEO, saying that they didn't hear anything to convince us that Zuckerberg or his colleagues were taking action instead of committing to a timeline to root out hate and disinformation. She said that the company's leaders were talking the same old talking points, in fact calling it spin. And other groups also took to social media. This is the head of the group, the Anti-Defamation League, and he said on social media that there was no changes, no timeline, no response to specific requests. The ADL itself taking to social media again, saying that, in their words, Facebook wants us to accept the same old rhetoric. Just looking at one more, this is Colour of Change, another civil rights group, the head of that group saying here that it was a disappointment. Taking a step back and just looking at some of the demands that these civil rights groups want from Facebook, they want Facebook to establish and empower a civil rights group within the company. They also want Facebook to submit a regular third-party independent audit of identity-based hate and misinformation on the platform. Now, after this, we asked Facebook for their response to all of these different statements that have been released in the past few hours, and this is what they told us here in the Cube. They said that we know that we will be judged by our actions, not by our words. We're grateful for these groups, but for these groups, not enough has been done. They want more to be done by Facebook, and more companies are putting pressure on Facebook to do more to tackle misinformation and hate on the platform.
Thank you, Shona.
We know that the consensus, at least within the EU, about how to drive out of this ever-deepening recession, and we saw really terrible figures coming out of Europe yesterday about a recession of around, on average, 8.5%. We know that the main plan, of course, is this EU €750 billion rescue fund attached on to the EU's 7-year budget. And I caught up with one of the candidates for the presidency of the Eurogroup yesterday, Paschal Donohoe, the Irish finance minister. He said that was really top of his agenda, because if the EU doesn't get this right, it could have serious consequences for the European project and the euro.
Hope reach an agreement in relation to the recovery fund, which will be a vital precondition then towards the release of that funding in the early part then of 2021. Secondly, decisions that we need to make to further deepen the resilience of the euro. But then the third priority, Shona, would be a political one, which is the need to be making the case to the citizens of Europe that the euro and the membership of the euro and the existence of the euro is part of how we can drive a more inclusive recovery.
Well, all three candidates are really saying that on the top of their agenda will be to implement the €750 billion fund. And of course, they'll have different ideas about how to do that. Now, not least, of course, one of those, Nadia Calvino, the Spanish finance minister, of course, coming from Spain, one of the hardest hit countries in the EU. She has been pushing for debt mutualisation as part of the Eurogroup for several months now, since the pandemic began. She's also the forerunner for presidency of the Eurogroup. She's very well liked here in Brussels. She's very much supported even by Angela Merkel in Germany. Now, the second, of course, is the Luxembourg finance minister, Pierre Galmega. He, of course, similarly wants to implement the €750 billion fund, but he believes he is much more of a consensus candidate, a person who can bridge the divide between the southern member states, which are who've been supporting debt mutualisation for a lot longer, but also the more frugal members of the euro, like the Netherlands and Austria, who have concerns about the size of the budget, about how it will be spent. So it really is all to play for. It's a private ballot. They'll whittle the 3 candidates down to 2, and then it'll be a simple majority, 10 out of the 19, and then we'll get the announcement at some stage tomorrow evening.
New at 10 American flags burned in Needham. This patriotic display was vandalized just hours after the 4th of July. Boston 25 News reporter Julie Leonardi is live for us in Needham tonight. And Julie, you spoke with a woman who has placed these flags out there for more than a decade.
Vanessa, I did, and those damaged flags, they were here earlier tonight, but that woman that I spoke with, she came here just moments ago to bring them back inside her house to make sure they're okay tonight. Now, if you just want to look over here, if you zoom in right there, you can actually see the damage. There, burns and ashes from what was left behind. It's a decade-long tradition Needham native Katie Roby takes pride in.
And everyone, I think, appreciates it. And, you know, I get the honks and the waves and the, you know, and the thank yous.
But this 4th of July, Roby's patriotic holiday ritual was destroyed.
Dedicated people put those out. And, you know, to just burn them, you know, nonchalantly. It's hurtful.
The ashes of red, white, and blue are still left behind along this stone wall. Roby has since replaced the flags, but she's still left confused why anyone would vandalize her tribute to men and women serving our country.
As I do the flags, I think of like the veterans, the fallen brave, and the military that are out there fighting for our freedom now.
She says about a dozen were burned by Memorial Park and a dozen more burned not far away. 500 flags were displayed in front of the Needham Exchange Club. This year in lieu of a scaled-back 4th of July celebration. And Roby says it was disturbing to see what was left of her flags.
I don't mind what you do at your home and with your flag, but, you know, these flags are my flags, and, you know, it's vandalism to be burning my flag.
And again, the damaged flags, they were in 2 different parts of Needham, right here along Highland Avenue, as well as in front of that Exchange Club. Police say they are investigating this matter. We're live tonight in Needham. I'm Julie Leonardi, Boston 25 News.
Well, California and several other states are suing the Trump administration over education funding from the CARES Act. State Attorney General Javier Becerra says that the money was supposed to help the neediest schools during the pandemic. The lawsuit accuses the Department of Education of creating a process that can take tens of millions of dollars from low-income schools and divert it to private schools.
Some of these private schools charging tuition as much as a kid that you would send off to a private university. We're talking in the realm of $20,000 or more a year for students in kids. Unfortunately, that's about as much as the average poor working family in California might earn in an entire year. That's a lot of money for folks. And to see that kind of money taken away from our public schools to help kids of those families, it's against the law.
Other states involved in that lawsuit are Michigan, Maine, New Mexico, Wisconsin, and also Washington, D.C.
That's part of that. Ethical plea. Police force. Stick them alive, they don't go after. But they need to teach that in school so the kids know. A felony is a pretty bad charge.
Banana Boat sunscreen is all about